Most of the fitness industry is on steroids, and they're giving people advice, specifically natural lifters, that don't have the ungodly or unfair ability in order to recover. And what this is causing you guys to do is overtrain. So we're going to be going over 6 ways that you can tell if you're overtraining, and we're going to discuss how you can fix those things as well. A lot of you guys that have been subscribed to my channel for a long period of time know that I always preach intensity over volume. Now, the fact of the matter is that you have all of these personal trainers and fitness influencers and stuff like that that are all using steroids, and they're giving people advice that isn't going to work for them. When you're on steroids, you have an ungodly ability to recover. The most important thing when you're training as a natural lifter is you train as hard as you can, as often as you can, to allow your body to recover. You're limited by the fact that you cannot fully recover, super quick and immediately after a workout. So the high volume thing, just throw that shit right out the window and get yourself on a properly structured training program if you're a natural lifter. What you're going to do is you're going to subscribe to the channel in order to do this. So we're going to go over 6 signs on how you can tell if you're overtraining. And the first one we're going to talk about is stagnated poundages or not being able to progress in your workouts. Now, this isn't just like one exercise that you're going to be perhaps struggling with or anything like that. It's going to be a multitude of movements. You know, your squat, your bench, your deadlift, your shoulder press, your chin up, things along these lines. You're going to be wanting to make sure that you're keeping track of where you're at and where you're going, and making sure that you're progressing either in weight moved or reps done with whatever weight that it is that you're doing. And then just keep in mind that if you're starting to stagnate over the course of like 3 or 4 workouts, this is definitely a surefire way to tell that your body has just accumulated too much fatigue through your training process, and you're going to need to just dial it back. Another thing that you're going to struggle with as well is you're going to just have low enthusiasm to do a lot of different things, and you're just going to have low motivation. The reason for this is because when you overtrain, you put your body in a perpetual state of stress, elevating your cortisol levels up, and it actually destroys your testosterone as well, which gives you that motivation to want to go and do things. Effort feels good when your testosterone levels are dialed in. You want to be doing things all the time. You're excited about doing activities. And when you're in a perpetual state of stress, you're going to lose that motivation. So that's another way to tell if you're overtraining as well. Another way that you can tell if you're overtraining is you just have a lot of excess fatigue the day after that you've done a workout. If you notice that you're much more tired than you normally are after your workout sections the next day, you feel like shit when you wake up in the morning, it's hard for you to get out of bed, and you just have like an excessive amount of soreness in the areas that you work, whether it be your lower body or upper body. Again, this is a surefire way to tell that your body is, again, in a perpetual state of stress, and you need to just dial back the training for a short period of time and just figure out how to not abuse your body so much. The fourth one is you're going to have a lot of trouble falling asleep, which is going to sound really strange, because you would feel like if you're, constantly, tired and fatigued and everything like that, it would be really easy to sleep. However, this just simply isn't the case. If you're having a hard time falling asleep at night, and even when you do fall asleep, say for example, you wake up at some point during the night for whatever reason, you're tossing and turning lots and stuff like that. This is a surefire way, again, that you're overtraining, and we need to make sure that we're paying attention to these minor details. Another good way to determine whether or not you're overtraining as well is that you have an elevated resting heart rate kind of all the time. Again, this is a reason for those high cortisol levels. Your body is in a perpetual state of stress. When you're just sitting down on the couch, or even when you're sleeping as well, your heart rate is always going to be constantly elevated. And this is something that I like to use the Whoop strap that I have here for, to make sure that I'm paying attention to these little things that are under the surface, or under the hood, as I always like to say. And you want to be making sure that your heart rate, or your resting heart rate variability, is, in the typical range that it's supposed to be in. And the last but not least thing is you're going to have an absolutely dead sex drive. You're not going to want to fuck at all. And you're going to be waking up in the mornings without an iron rod like you normally should be. So this is something that you want to be paying attention to as well. Is just that, ability and desire to just straight up want to fuck. If that's been lost, or you can feel that that's been decreasing over a period of time, then we want to make sure that we pay attention to these minor details. And we're going to discuss coming up here on how to solve the overtraining problem and what causes overtraining in the first place. So overtraining is caused by a multitude of factors. The first and most important one is you're just simply doing too much volume, too many exercises, and you're just training way too much. Another way that you can promote excess systemic fatigue and overtraining in your body is by just pushing yourself too hard. Now, I know I say all the time that most of you don't train hard enough, but what you really want to avoid is training too hard as well. So doing these like assisted, like negative reps and stuff like that, where, when you've already gotten to the point of failure in your set, you have a buddy, keep you going. That is extremely hard on your central nervous system. And it's something as a natural lifter that you absolutely must avoid. Now, you can have the most perfect, training system and everything like that for you at home, the natural lifter. But if you have other factors and other activities and things like that that you enjoy doing on a daily, weekly basis and whatnot, this is also things that you're going to have to factor in when it comes to overtraining and overall systemic fatigue. I know for myself, I love going skiing. I play a lot of baseball in the spring and summer times as well. I like being outdoors, hunting, fishing, hiking, all of that kind of good stuff. These are all other factors that are involved in, getting you to that point of overtraining where you're no longer progressing anymore, and talking about the things that we're going to talk about in the next 6 steps there. If you're doing very strenuous activities and whatnot outside of the gym, you need to kind of factor this into your training or your weightlifting program. Obviously, I'm a big advocate for making the weight training a priority, but at the same time, under a system like mine that I'm going to be coming out with very soon, you're going to be able to do all of the other things that you like to do and enjoy activity-wise, while at the same time making that weight training and putting on muscle as a natural lifter a priority. So now that we've talked about what causes overtraining and why you need to stop listening to most of the fitness influencers out there that are on shitloads of gear, what steroids essentially does is it gives you a ungodly ability to recover. As I talked about before, as a natural lifter, you are hindered by your ability to recover, and you should be doing activities and weight training in such a manner that allows your body to recover. So therefore, you need to ditch the high volume training and focus more so on intensity. This is going to ensure between your workouts that you're giving your body enough time to recover. So you really need to focus on getting a proper dialed in training program by somebody like myself or anybody else out there who has been a career natural in the weightlifting space and prioritizes these things that are important. If you've experienced these 6 signs of overtraining, then what you're going to want to do is you're going to just want to flat out take a couple of days off, or you're going to want to do a deload weeks. And what a deload week is you basically take whatever poundages that you were lifting at. So say, for example, I was lifting 270 pounds for 5 reps on bench press, for example. What I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to reduce the weight by 50%. So that would be 135. So that would be about a plate or so. And you're going to want to just stick to the same amount of reps that you were doing. So if I was doing 270 for 5, I'm now doing 135 for 5. And I'm going to maintain the amount of sets that I was doing in my workout. So 3 sets before, 3 sets now. And then even after that, you can just straight up take a week off. There's no problem whatsoever with just prioritizing that recovery, getting yourself out of the gym, and allowing your body a chance to just systemically heal itself from the stress that you've put it under. Stress is extremely good, and you're just natural adaptation is going to be to build back and become stronger. This is where you actually make the vast majority of your gains as a natural lifter, is in these weeks where you're reducing the intensity, you're reducing the volume, whatever it is, and you're also making sure that you're sleeping properly and eating well as well, so that you have all of the micronutrients to facilitate proper hormone production in your body to allow yourself to recover and build yourself back stronger. And last but not least, and this is probably the most important thing in the whole wide world, is prioritizing your sleep as a natural lifter. As I said before, when you're on shitloads of gear, prioritizing your recovery and stuff like that isn't important, because you have insane levels of hormones in your body that are doing this for you. Most of your hormone production comes during your sleeping hours. So it's really important that we're getting a sufficient amount of sleep, and we're also getting good quality sleep as well. So if this is something that you're struggling with as well, it's something that you need to look at, and it's something that you need to make a priority in fixing. As I said before, I use that Whoop strap for that exact reason, to just get as much data and information as I can in order to make sure that I'm getting my sleep dialed in. This is just a couple of things that are super easy as well that you can do. Is you can go to sleep at the same time every day. When you wake up in the morning, you want to make sure that you're not going to your phone or flicking on the TV or whatever. Spend some time, move around a little bit, get some good natural light in your eyes and everything like that, to reinforce that circadian rhythm that you have. Consistent bedtimes are super important as well, and consistent wake up times in addition to that are also going to be important as well. So I hope you guys found this video super valuable. Definitely be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're a natural lifter, so that we can get you on the right track and get you good sound advice that's going to give you the results that you want, and put on as much muscle and strength as you can.